Alright, what's going on everyone? Thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. The topic of this video today is going to be my first week of meet prep. I can't believe that it's already here. Yesterday marks 15 weeks out for me. So I am 15 weeks out from the USA Powerlifting New Hampshire State Championships. I'm not a resident of New Hampshire, but I am a resident of Massachusetts. It's very close. If you live in New England, you know that basically you can get to any state you want in the New England area within 2 hours or less. So I am lifting with a bunch of my Precision Powerlifting Systems teammates on April 28th. So we will be lifting at that meet. I'm very excited about it. This past week was the first week of what I like to call meet prep. I just always think of, the 16 weeks leading up to the meet as meet prep. The first 16-week block with my coach was kind of getting used to Chico's type training methodology, and then this block is going to be, a lot of volume and then wrapping up intensity and then tapering down at the end. So I have my laptop in front of me, so what I figured I would do is kind of watch my footage back while I'm recording, and then I will pop the videos up on the screen as I'm talking about it, so you don't have to watch me watch my videos for 10 or so minutes. This block, I'll just talk about it really quickly. So this first week of this block, this 4-week block, I had, for my main compound lifts, I had for my main compound, oh my god. So this week block, I had, for my compound lifts, the first day, I'm on a 3-day cycle, I should mention. So I only train the main lifts 3 days a week. On my off days, sometimes I'll do some cardio, sometimes I'll just do other active recovery things, but I don't train other than these 3 days a week. So for my day 1, I had squats up to 75% for a 5x5. Then I had bench press up to 80% for a 5x3. Then on my second day, I had a full deadlift plus deadlift below the knees for a 1+2. So that's 1 full deadlift and then 2 deadlifts below the knees. And then I had bench with chains up to 65% for a 5x4. And then I had just conventional deadlifts up for a 75% up to a 4x4. On my day 3, which was yesterday, I had squats 80% up to 5x3. And then I had board press. I had it prescribed as 85% 2x3 and then 90% 3x2. As you'll see in the video, I ended up taking 85% for a triple, then I took 90% for a triple, and then I took 95% for a double, and then I took 100% for 2 doubles. So I worked up a little bit more intensity yesterday. I also have accessories after all of those days, so just when you're thinking about my programming and what it's like, I usually have either 2 or 3 compound lifts depending on the day. Usually one of those is a competition lift and one of them is a variation. Some days it's 2 competition lifts, some days 2 variations on a competition lift, but the most frequent is that I have 1 traditional competition lift and then I have 1 or 2 variations on that lift. Let's start talking about this footage. My day 1 this week was really interesting because I had just come off from a 5-day break. So I trained last week. My last day was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so my last day was Thursday. My day 3 last week. And then this week, my day 1 was Wednesday. So I had like 5 days off. I was traveling a little bit and I had some other responsibilities that I had to take care of, so I couldn't get to the gym this week until Wednesday for my day 1, which is really atypical of me. Usually I either do my day 1 on Monday or Tuesday without fail. Those are usually actually my day 1 and my day 2. So doing my day 1 on Monday this week or Wednesday this week was a little weird, and on top of that I also had super heavy squats and decently heavy bench press. So I was coming from work, I was coming from a bunch of days off, which normally doesn't faze me, but I think this week I was not recovered from the traveling. So you'll see I did my squats. They were a 5x5 at 75%. I just recently PR'd my squat, so that meant all of my training percentages went up. So my new 75% on the squat is 225. I have definitely never done a 5x5 at 225. So you could also say that mentally I wasn't really prepared for this lifting day. I just was totally not in it. They went okay. You will see in some of the footage I was kind of hesitant on the descent, and so that made me pitch a little bit forward, and I just wasn't really all there. I definitely also screwed up one of the reps. I paused in the middle and then ended up taking a short trip back down to the hole and then back up, almost like a 1 1/4 squat, but it definitely wasn't supposed to be. Obviously that would have been a no lift in competition, but I was in training, and so I just got myself together and I finished the last 2 reps and they were fine. But I do think that this training day was good in the sense that I got through a 5x5 at 75%, which for me was really important, I think, mentally, to be able to do that. I don't always have the best confidence in my squats. They're definitely getting better. They've improved over the last 16 weeks, but they definitely still have room to grow. I just got new shoes, so they are a 1/4 inch higher. So I did, not this day, and actually not the next day either, but on my day 3 this week, I did move the bar down a 1/4 inch on my back to compensate, and I think it worked out well. So you'll see that in the footage later on in the video, but the squats went okay. And then bench press, I feel like always goes fine for me. My bench press is not necessarily a lift that I really have to think about too often, just for the sole reason that it I don't know, it always moves well. So knock on wood, but the 80% at 5x3, which for me is a plate, so that's 135 pounds, moved really, really well. Honestly, I probably could have done 145 for 5 sets of 3, but I didn't want to push intensity too much because I had also just done that 5x5 at 75% on squats, and I knew that I was already really exhausted. It was late. I wasn't in it. I also wanted to show you this video from one of my teammates, Al, who tested all of his maxes last week, and he was just so excited to be able to PR his deadlift. So I think this was 635 pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, Al, but either way, congrats on the PR, Al, and I'm going to let this clip play out. So let's go. Get up! Finish it! Yeah, good for you.
Yo, that shit was heavy! Yo, son! I gotta take a doo-doo. Oh, shit!
Hey, Al, that's not even a good lift, dude.
So then we get into my day 2, and my day 2 this week was the next day right after this. Was on Thursday, because again, I had family obligations on Friday and on Saturday, so I wasn't going to be able to train how I would normally train, which would be Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, if I'm starting on Wednesday. So I couldn't lift on Friday or Saturday, so I had to go into the gym on Thursday, and the first thing I had on Thursday was the full deadlift plus deadlift to knees. I actually did not think that these went too badly. I tend to overthink deadlifting just because for me it's not a motion that is necessarily, it's not normal. It doesn't feel right to me to deadlift. So I'm happy that they were okay. This was at up to 75%. I did these at 80 last week, but it was a 1+1. So doing a 1+2 for 4 sets at 75 was actually pretty good, all things considering, and they looked pretty solid. Then I had bench press with chains. Again, I told you bench press is my favorite lift by far. It's the lift I feel most confident in. So the chains definitely added a little bit of weight, but not too badly, and they were only at 65% bar weight. So the chains definitely give me a little bit of the deload on the chest when you're deloading the chains all the way into the ground, so it feels a little bit easier to push it off the chest, but it definitely does still give you the feeling of lifting heavy weight off in your hands. So I would say that at the top this probably feels like a plate, maybe 140, and it only was 105 bar weight. So, but these still felt pretty easy. I didn't feel like my technique really suffered with these at all. I didn't feel like they pushed me around, which sometimes the chains can do for me. And then I went back to deadlifts this night, and I had a 5x4? No, a 4x4. Yeah, 4x4 back at 75%. So, again, another heavy-ish deadlift day for me. Deadlifting twice in one day has never been my forte, but I had these 4 sets of 4 at up to 265 pounds. I thought they actually felt really good. I think they looked really good. So I'm hopeful that come April, I will be able to pull a PR off the ground. So my meet PR right now in deadlifts is 336 pounds, but my gym PR is 350. So I'm hopeful that, at least 341, like the next kilo jump up from 336 would be great. But ideally, I'd like to hit somewhere in the range of like 353 pounds come meet day. So we'll see how that goes. So then my teammate Mike and I took a trip out to Mass Barbell yesterday, which was super fun. It's out in Worcester, Mass. So shout out to the guys at Mass Barbell for having us. It was a really fun experience to be able to lift in a gym that just wasn't our home gym. We didn't really know anyone, but it had awesome equipment. It had a great atmosphere. I hit 80% for a 5x3, which I've definitely never hit 235 for 5 triples. And I think that they actually felt and looked awesome. Like I said earlier, I moved the bar down my back a 1/4 inch to compensate for my new shoes. So these are the Adidas Addy Powers. In like little boys, size 3, because I have midget feet. But the shoes I was wearing were the Adidas Powerlift .2s. So those have like a little bit of a squishier foot base and a smaller heel. So I would say that this is like a 3/4 inch heel, and the the Adidas Powerlifts were maybe a 1/2 inch heel. And that might be off, but either way, it's not very much. But I definitely needed to move the bar down my back because as I increased my height this way, my pitching started to go that way. So it just moved my hip hinge a little bit because the bar was heavier on the top of my back, so it caused me to pitch even more than I already do, which is a lot. And so I needed to compensate by moving the bar back down my back a little bit. I had previously been a very low bar squatter. I had moved it up considerably in order to stop my pitching, but I think I needed to just tweak it back down just a little bit. So I moved it up, and my hip hinge went really well. So I felt like more accordion-like and less, I don't even know what this is, like a mailbox. That's probably not accurate, but whatever. My squats felt great, so I hit this 80% for a 5x3. I would say probably like sets 3 and 4 felt the best. Usually that's how it works for me anyway. By 5, you get a little bit of fatigue. And then I hit this board press, and this board press was so fun. I was so excited because, they were feeling good. I warmed up. I did my 50, my 60, my 70, and then my 80%, which was a plate. Did the plate for 3, flew. So then I did the 85, which is 145 pounds. And you'll see that here. I did this 145, and it looked lighter than the plate. So I made the decision to go up to the 90% and for that second triple. So I did that second triple, again, flew. So I was like, okay, I'll go to 160 for the 3 doubles, which was supposed to be 90%. That's the 155. So I moved it to like 94%-ish. And I did this double, and then it was faster than my triple, which obviously when you lower the rep count, the weight tends to go a little bit quicker because you only have so many reps to utilize your strength on. But so then I made the decision to go up to 170, which is my current max on bench press, for 2 doubles on board press. And if you see the board in this video, it's really not that big. It's a 1 board, so it definitely does take some of my range of motion off the chest, but I really feel like my bench press has gotten stronger over the last 16 weeks. I hit my most recent bench PR on my birthday week, so that was like the last week in November. So it's been about 6 weeks, and I really feel like I have made even more bench progress, and I think that's partially due to the fact that Kevin is having the women bench more, because we can handle more frequency on the bench press. So I'm bench pressing in every session, and my bench percentages are getting up to 80 or 85% almost every single session. And I think that's really, really helped with me being able to be more confident under a plate plus, because right now my 80% is a plate. So, you know, I'm repping that every single session. Even today, I'm gonna go train after this, and I have bench press 85% for 4x2. So that's 145 for 4 doubles, which is considerably close to my max, all things considering. And the fact that I'm consistently being able to rep out that weight with no mental barriers to that, I think is really telling of what I'm going to be able to do come meet day in 15 weeks. So let me give you a little preview into next week's training, and then I'm gonna go train. Well, I'm gonna go eat, and then I'm gonna go train. So today I have a squat pyramid. I realized that last night after I got home, so that's fun. So that's 70%, which is for me around 205. My pyramid today is sets of, in order, 5, 7, 9, 8, 6, 4, which is actually only 6 sets. Usually it's 7 sets, but because the rep scheme is higher, so it starts at 5 and never goes below 4, I don't get that extra set of like 3 or 2, which normally in a squat pyramid I would get. And then my bench press, I told you, goes up to 85% 4x2. Then my day 2, which will be on Wednesday, I'll have bench press 80% for 4x3. I'll have deadlift up to 75% for a 5x5. And then I'll have board press. And when I say board press on this channel, I'm always talking about a 1 board. I'm never talking about anything more than that. So I'll have a board press 85% for a 4x3. So that will probably, I might push the intensity on that just a little bit, like maybe 90% 4x3, since I did the 100% for a 2x2 this week. And then my day 3 this week, which will be on Friday, I will squat 80% for a 5x3. Again. And then I have 2-second pause bench press for 70% for a 5x3. And then I'll have deadlift with a pause off the ground. So it's usually 5 centimeters off the ground is like for me mid shin, and that's 75% for a 4x2. A little less than half variations versus competition lifts, which as you get closer to competition, you're going to want to integrate more traditional competition lifts versus variations, just because you want to make sure that you're consistently practicing the lifts that you perform in competition. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you kind of got a look into my training. If you have questions about Chico style programming or what we do in Precision Powerlifting Systems, you're welcome to leave them in the comment section below. I'll also leave Kevin's website and email in the description box, so that if you have any questions, you can reach out to him. You're welcome to reach out to me as well, though I'm definitely not the mastermind behind this all. I'm just the girl behind the camera. It was great talking with y'all. I hope that you have a fabulous week. Stay strong. Keep training, and I'll see you in the next one.